Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.
Welcome to all.
History is made of stories.
In this episode, we'll be explaining the concept of data literacy.
We're constantly tempted by the promises of data. It will make us smarter and facilitate decision making.
But only if you know how to interpret data. To develop the skill, you need a culture that goes with it. So, data literacy, what's the story?
Data literacy is about developing a data culture that promotes smart use of data in the workplace.
It's a useful skill whatever your position and business sector. It's about learning to use data rigorously and discerningly to obtain information that is valuable to the company.
We can break down the process into 7 steps. 1. Obtain the data. 2. Assess its quality. 3. Make it usable. 4. Process it without betraying its innate nature. 5. Analyze it. 6. Interpret the analyses to obtain information. 7. Share it with others.
1. Obtaining the data can refer to a collection process or some other means. It's about knowing where the data is, who to contact to obtain it, how it's created, etc.
For example, let's use global payroll data. To calculate the average executive salary, you have to collect data from every country in the world. Each country may have its own payroll system, with different definitions for things like base salary, for example.
Will you roll out a tool that plucks data from each local database, or will you ask each local HR director to share the average salary and the number of executives within a set framework of norms? The answer to this one question has a huge impact on the company, including its culture.
2. To assess the quality of the data, you evaluate its reliability, credibility, and conformity to determine whether or not the raw material you have is clean and usable and to what extent.
To do this, you have to know a bit about the topic in question, including ballpark figures. When it comes to global payroll, if you see a salary with too many zeros, you'll know to check if it's an entry error.
3. Making them usable is about correcting mistakes, removing numbers that don't make sense, and potentially standardizing to make sure you're not comparing apples to oranges.
In our example, where your goal is to calculate the average global salary, you have some files where male is 1 and female 2, and others where it's M and F. You'll obviously have to convert everything to a single system to get accurate statistics.
4. Processing data without betraying it means calculating aggregates, formatting them without changing them, and describing them by creating visuals or basic descriptive statistics.
In an age pyramid, for example, uniform categories such as age brackets do not betray the statistics, but if you set categories such as old and young, you're already interpreting and shaping the results.
5. In the analysis phase, you try to understand what the data means. Be wary of analytical biases.
6. You extract information from the analyses and draw conclusions. It's still important to watch out for interpretive biases.
7. You share the information. Process data, like visuals or a report on your conclusions. You have to minimize information loss and find the right balance between summary and explanation depending on the goals and your audience.
To recap, data literacy is the ability to collect, exploit, and interpret data rigorously and discerningly to promote fact-based, business-specific decision-making. To do so, it's important to exercise caution at every step in the process, from data collection through to sharing the information it contains. Is that right?
Exactly right. Way to make a long story short. Story RH, the podcast that makes a long story short.